break, you were talking about, you are seeing an increase, in people coming to you. What kind of help are they asking for? Are they to do with,
like what Samuel said, depending on the segment of the population that comes in. But of course, most of the cases for social assistance will be financial assistance in terms of helping them to cope with their living expense. So we dispense help in terms of cash assistance, in terms of food vouchers, in terms of rental, utility subsidy, school pocket money fund for the children, bursaries, transport grant, and so on. For those who are retrenched, recently for Southwest CDC, we just announced a $1.5 million ICOPE, which is an interim coping package for economic downturn, to help households with income of 2005 and below. Households with income of 2005 and below, that will be who are in need of assistance because they have been recently retrenched. So we give them a variety of help to but the most important thing is to help them in terms of getting employment, ultimately getting a job so that they will be self-reliant.
But this recession, it's likely to see that you're going to see more middle-class people, right, being affected, not like in the last recession. Now, that will be a completely different problem, right? Whether they will actually come forward or do they know where to go for help? Do you see that as a problem?
Actually, I feel that for the lower income, at the current moment, the safety network has been quite comprehensive. So it's the issues of enhancement or making sure that nobody falls. Concern is what you have mentioned, the middle or middle lower group. These people traditionally, they are quite okay. They live on their life, all this. Now, once they are hit and all this, are they aware, in the first place, are they aware of all this assistance in place? Secondly, and sometimes, these people, they have this face issue. It's like, I all along I've been doing okay. Now I have to go and seek help. So how are we going to actually tell them it's okay? And also the message of seeking early intervention. Because otherwise you wait, for the problem to snowball until finally they cannot make it and they come to us, you'll be too late.
Are you seeing more middle-income cases coming to you?
In fact, we anticipate that there could be more of the middle income that will be affected this time around because of the nature of the economic downturn. And that's the reason why we proactively actually launched this scheme, ICOPE, and to tell people that we'll be more flexible in the help that will be dispensed to residents. Traditionally we only give help to the low income, 20% and below, but now we have actually stretched it, be more flexible, so that they will come forward. And we can help them in many ways, not just in terms of direct assistance. And the idea really is to publicize this through the community, through grassroots organizations, FSCs, and so on. And we are actively doing that. In fact, just last year, MCYS also launched this Comcare call, which is really to get anyone who needs assistance, but it's too embarrassed or don't know where to get assistance to call. Yes.
Samuel, you're talking about housing as an issue and how you've never ever seen people
actually, I feel that, though FSCs now we are handling more what we call hardcore cases, those families with serious problems. One of the symptoms or symptomatic thing that I've seen recently is, for example, in my FSC, in the past half a year, we have seen about 10 homeless cases. Which is very, very, which is unheard of in the past.
Homeless in what sense? How do you
Homeless meaning that they are without home. And these are families, meaning these are parents with children. Some of them are single parent with school-going kids and all this. So they have nowhere to go. So sometimes, they end up, camping, so-called, at the beach.
So these cases, were they because they had been evicted from their apartments or flats? But what was it? Was it HDB
These
or
people,
banks?
they are not the typical very lower income group. So they have purchased flat, for example, and they got their housing loan from the bank and not from HDB. So, during bad times, they are being retrenched or all this, they cannot pay out. So they have to force sell their flat. And therefore, many of them make a loss. They don't make a gain out of selling the house and end up, the first phase we notice is that they will go around their friends or relatives' houses to stay. And when all the means are exhausted, then they have nowhere to go.
So what do you do
to help these people?
Well, we have our fair share of this group of people, although I must also highlight that it is still a small number. It could be that, like Samuel said, FSCs get the hardcore cases. And what we are doing now is we explore with them. HDB also does the same thing. If they come to the CDC, they come to the Meet the People session or FSC, I'm sure, we explore with them the various alternatives they have, relatives, friends, etc., rental. We do make appeals to HDB. In fact, recently I did one where he sold and then he did not make any profit, and was actually disallowed from downgrading and so on because of various policies. But HDB, for extenuating circumstances, does make exception, and I've actually got him a home already. Also, MCYS is able to place them in homes. If that comes to the crunch, that means no other alternative, we can place them in a home, even if it's a family, although maybe the families will have to be separated for a short while. But nobody needs to go without a roof over their heads, really, if they come to us for help.
Correct.
How much of this should be self-help? I mean, there was also a call that Singaporeans cannot just rely on the government to cope in this crisis. Do you think Singaporeans have a mindset of, okay, we have to explore these options and seek help, and we really cannot, then we do, when you see cases, do you find that to be the case?
Well, I think this message is increasingly taking root. I think over the years we have been reinforcing, like what Samuel said, our social safety net, and reinforcing this message of many helping hands approach. The government certainly cannot do this all alone, all by itself. And in fact, it will be the poorer for it if it was just the government left alone to do this, because it will just erode family values, community values. In fact, the family should be the first line of defense, really, and the community should step in where it's possible to help the less able, and this is what we are trying to do. So we have grassroots, we work with grassroots. This year, the budget, they are increasing the amount of ComCare fund for the CCC to 7 million, so that they have more resources to reach out, identify and reach out those who need help in the community, and to do so. And work with us, all the other self-help organizations, VWOs as well as CDC, to ensure that they have comprehensive help.
But sometimes I feel that it can be a very paradoxical thing. Because on one hand, you think that you want them to be independent, self-reliant and all this. On the other hand, you still roll out all the assistance, and all that for them. So some indirectly, I mean, somehow we call it, these people, we call them charity smart. So sometimes they know, how to go about. So the essence is, I think one of the good news that we hear from this budget is, at the end of the day, I think the helpers are also very important. The social workers that are administering, they are not just merely giving out handouts. You are there to assess the entire family and to make an intervention plan. So the intervention plan for us is, you have to make sure that the family, in many X number of time, be independent. That is our goal.
In fact, that is the ultimate goal, to make them independent. Yeah.
Thank you very much. On that note, thank you to both of you. We look forward to more announcements during the next few weeks by individual ministries on programs and how else the government will be helping Singaporeans cope. That's all the time we have tonight.
Send us your feedback and comments at talkingpoint@channelnewsasia.com. From all of us here, we wish you a happy and prosperous Lunar New Year, and good night.
Good night.